I am not strong enough to dig, and I am too ashamed to beg. I have decided what I will do so that when I am dismissed as a manager, people may welcome me into their homes. So summoning the master's debtors one by one, he asked the first, "How much do you owe my master?" He answered, 100 jugs of olive oil. He said to him, "Take your bill, sit down quickly, and make it 50. Then he asked another, "And how much do you owe?" He replied, 100 containers of wheat. He said to him, "Take your bill and make it 80. And his master commended the dishonest manager because he had acted shrewdly. For the children of this age are more shrewd in dealing with their own generation than the children of the light. And I tell you, make friends for yourself by means of dishonest wealth, so that when it is gone, they may welcome you into eternal homes. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in very much. And whoever is dishonest in very little is dishonest also in much. If then you have not been faithful with dishonest wealth, who will entrust to you true riches? And if you have not been faithful with what belongs to another, who will give you what is your own? No one can serve two masters. For you will either hate one and love the other, or be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
You may be seated. Grace, peace, and mercy be to you from the Creator of all that is good, God, the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Gospel lesson this morning starts off by telling us about a manager who squandered all that was entrusted to him. And when the owner finds out, he demands everything back, and then gave it to other managers who were more responsible. Now, when I read this text at the 8 o'clock service, Dan Holzer, who is our stewardship chair, his eyes lit up like a Christmas tree, because he knows this is a stewardship text through and through. Think about it for a minute. Our Lord entrusts many rich blessings on each and every one of us. And each of those gifts and those blessings are given with one single purpose. That purpose is so that we can know and share the love of God and neighbor. Amen?
Amen.
As Christ's disciples, we are called and empowered to be good managers, faithful stewards of all that God has entrusted us with. We are to use our time, our talents, our treasures, and our trust for that single purpose. And what was that purpose again? To know and to share the love of God and neighbor. Repeat that after me. To know and to share the love of God and neighbor. Now, as you heard this gospel lesson this morning, have you ever thought about a time that might come when we too are called to give account of how we have managed what God has entrusted for us? How we've lived out our call to be faithful stewards? Do you think that might happen one day? Matthew tells us in chapter 25, when the Son of Man comes in all his glory and all his angels with him, then he will sit on the throne of glory. And the nations will be gathered before him. All nations will be gathered before him. And he will separate people one from another, as the shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep in his right hand and the goats in his left. Then the king will say to those in his right hand, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer saw you sick or in prison and cared for you? And the king will answer them, truly I tell you, just as you did it for one of the least of these, who are members of my family, you did it to me. Our text this morning invites us to think about how we have fulfilled our call as managers or stewards of all that God has entrusted us with. How have you used your time, your talents, your treasures, and your trust to know and to share the love of God and neighbor? Now, it's no surprise that this text comes to us at the beginning of fall as we begin to look at budgets and spending plans, as we begin to put together a stewardship campaign. And that'll be coming in the weeks to come. But today, we are reminded that this call to good management, to faithful stewardship, goes beyond how much we tithe or the ministries we're involved in and support. It includes what each of us do and how each and every one of us use everything that God has entrusted to us to care for all of creation. Think about it. In 6 days, God created everything. And God has blessed us with a lifetime to enjoy this amazing creation. And as our gospel lesson from Luke reminds us, with each amazing blessing comes great responsibility. We have designated today as Creation Care Sunday, with an emphasis on climate from the pulpit. Larry Ryan, our Creation Care team leader, is going to share what that means for us and our call to be good managers and faithful stewards of all of God's creation. Larry?
Thank you, Pastor. So I prepared a paragraph to introduce myself, but I'll get that aside because he just did it for me. Thank you. So today is identified by the Interfaith Powering Light, an ELCA-supported organization that has now gone international, as Climate in the Pulpit Sunday. Its founder, the Reverend Sally Bingham, was installed as Canon for the Environment by California Bishop Mark Andrus in 2010. Sally says she is referred to as the loose cannon by Reverend Hick because they can't shut her up about all the damage humans have inflicted on creation. Sally has no problem with that because she insists that she is a seeker of the truth and intends to speak the truth even when the truth is hard to hear. She says, I am an environmentalist because I am a Christian, not in spite of it. So I'm reading from a speech Reverend Bingham gave 9 years ago at Stanford University, 2010. Keep in mind that in 2019, many of these realities she mentions are much worse today. Now, reading from her speech, she says, listen to what the former head of Yale School of Forestry writes in the introduction to his latest book, Bridge at the End of the World. Half the world's tropic and temperate rainforests are now gone. The rate of deforestation in the world's rainforests are about 1 acre per second. Half of the wetlands and about a third of the mangroves are gone. An estimated 90% of the world's large predator fish are gone. And 75% of marine fisheries are overfished or fished to capacity. 20% of the corals are gone, and another 20% are severely threatened. Species are disappearing at rates of about 1,000 times faster than normal. The Earth has not seen such a spasm of extinction in 65 million years since the dinosaurs disappeared. Ladies and gentlemen, we are standing at the edge of two worlds, one that God has created and the one that humans are making. The one that humans are making is not sustainable. It may be a matter of life and death. It's that serious. So let me ask you, is this who we are? Is this God's purpose for the human species? I don't think so. We were were given dominion over all that is. That is dominion, not domination. It is dominion in the same sense that mothers have over their children and that God has over us. Care and compassion, love and generosity. We don't give your child a black eye or break their ribs. We don't purposefully destroy their chance for a healthy life. To the contrary, we help them in all ways possible to ensure that they can be the best that they can be, and that is what God expected from us when we were given dominion. Considering Jesus' power to heal and our call to be his disciples, don't we have an obligation to do all we can to prevent any harm to God's creation? In fact, many churches like the Episcopal and Lutheran Church, our baptismal vow said, I renounce all forces of evil that cause harm to any creatures of God. The new commandment that Jesus proclaimed in the gospel is paramount in this discussion. Love one another. Everyone will know you are my disciples if you love one another. It could not be clearer. If you love your neighbor and one another, you don't pollute your neighbor's air or water, and you certainly don't destroy your neighbor's right to a safe and healthy life. We cannot call that love, but rather action that is in direct disobedience to the commandment to love one another. Communities whose land and air are polluted cannot be healthy any more than a young mother can nurture her child. If she is not healthy, we must try to keep mothers healthy and to keep our Mother Earth healthy as well. People of faith are recognizing that destruction of creation is a moral issue, and many leaders are getting involved and speaking out. Over the last 20 years, care for creation has taken hold in most major denominations. Many congregations, including St. Peter's, have formed green teams that are helping with reduction in energy use and less wasteful use of plastic and paper, caulking windows and replacing old appliances. Caring for God's creation takes on more urgency with each passing day. The climate continues to warm. Half of the Earth's wetlands are already gone. We are losing an average of one species of plant or animal to extinction every hour, while all the Americans are consuming their weight of stuff and every day. This is not who we are. We do not have to do this. We have one earth and a shared purpose, to be stewards of creation. We must keep our Mother Earth healthy. You cannot sit in a pew and profess love of God and let what God loves and called good to be destroyed. God called the earth good long before the Sierra Club was ever created. There is a powerful reverence that we hear every time we come to the altar. We proclaim it ourselves. In every Eucharistic prayer, we proclaim the glory of God on earth. Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, heaven and earth are full of your glory. The earth is full of God's glory. Listen anew when you hear them this morning. For 200 years, we have been burning fossil fuels for energy, and in the last 30 years, scientists have discovered that this form of energy is harming creation. Greenhouse gases, as they are called, have formed a blanket-like cover that is preventing heat from escaping and thus warming the planet. The fuels we are heavily dependent upon are finite, dirty, and dangerous. The time has come to switch to clean, renewable energy that comes from sun, wind, and geothermal, and other sources that don't pollute the air with carbon dioxide and other harmful gases. Why now? Well, the situation has reached a crisis to the extent that many of our most influential scientists think we may have already reached the point of no return. Further quoting Reverend Bingham, I cannot possibly suggest what Jesus would do if he were aware of what humans have done to the planet, but I suspect, being a healer, he would want to help poor nations of the world that are disappearing because of sea rise. I suspect that he would want to save endangered species of all kinds, restore forests and wetlands to health, and prevent ice caps from melting. I think he would say, cast your nets on the other side of the boat. What you are doing isn't working. Try something else. The fuels from heaven might be an alternative, sun and wind. Remember the lesson in which he commanded Peter to feed my sheep. Certainly this refers to the spiritual food of the gospel and the Eucharist, but it can also be extended to the literal, physical sense that we must feed our sisters and brothers who are hungry. If global warming is extending droughts in certain parts of Australia and Africa, as science tells it, it is, and the people are unable to find and grow food, we have a responsibility to help. Bingham suggests a new way of thinking about the human purpose on earth. We are here, and considering the climate crisis and other destructive measures that humans have visited upon God's creation, don't we have a shared responsibility? Is this our shared purpose? Crisis can and often does mean danger, but it also is an opportunity, and we mustn't waste this opportunity. We have the chance to do what few generations have had, and that is to come together with a shared purpose and the joy of working together as a unified force with a regenerated view of the human purpose on earth. Thanks be to God that St. Peter's has already embraced a call to care for creation. There is much more that we can do. I encourage everyone to take one of the documents from the Creation Care kiosk in the narthex, a personal covenant with God's creation. It provides many suggestions on actions you can take to help prepare the current climate-wide reality that is leading us down a de-creation path. I invite discussion on this issue, and some may even wish to grow in this call to care for God's creation by becoming a member of St. Peter's Creation Care team. The story of 16-year-old Greta Thunberg of Sweden helps us appreciate the positive impact that one person can have. Greta will speak in front of the world leaders at the UN Global Climate Action Summit tomorrow, September 23rd. Let us embrace the fact that we are one. One people with God, one people with one God, one earth, one atmosphere, and one global climate with one shared purpose, to love one another and to be good stewards of all that God has blessed us with. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love for one another. Amen. Amen.
This week I invite you to think about and pray about our readings, our hymns that we're sharing today, our prayers, the information that Larry shared with you. Think about what it means in and for your life, that you are called and empowered to care for creation, to be a good steward of every single thing God has gifted you with. And as you think about that and pray about that, do it through the lens of the end of our Luke text today. Whoever is faithful in very little is also faithful in very much. No one can serve two masters. You will either hate one and love the other, or you will be devoted to one and despise the other. You cannot serve God